Yes, I know, the elf mage is in a game that I think I've done like a few videos only on this channel, but she needs gear to work. Half gold and the units to go along with her if you're pushing high PvP stuff. But yeah, as we get to Athen to Cult, I mean, not really much else to say on that. I just wanted to move on to the main topic question mark, because this is going to be another katana run. In fact, it's going to be a cult run on top of that, so I'm just going to do random item stats if that wasn't the case. I feel like it was, though. But as we get into Katak Cult Random Item Stats Custom Character with the Katana, yeah, we're going to find out, because the house is going to randomize our item stats, and away we go. But Dexterity, Strength, Second Mystery, Takushi-san Knowledge, and maybe every single stat check, with Charisma being last. Definitely Takushi-san in Second Encounter. But as for this Katana, well, let's find out. But otherwise, as I'm finalizing, I guess, the story of my game, boy, oh boy, have I realized with a bit of, a bit of research here and there, that, man, it's not that it's hard to come up with something original that's interesting, it's just making something interesting, and it depends on the viewers. I think a large part of it as we get nails, sailors, painting, labyrinth, and phantasms. We'll take phantasms first, it's funny enough, oh my buddy, but hold on, let me focus for a moment. Village, max seaside, max village, high mansion, and I don't remember if you have vigil, so I'm just going to police station the village for now. But yeah, it's not that it's hard to come up with something original that's interesting, but as I've mentioned, and I think I've mentioned before as well, I do think that a large part of your success, whether you're writing stories, games, at least in the form of art, does depend on the audience that you want to bring, because obviously I think it's more difficult to try and get a general audience, to try to get everyone to love whatever piece of work you're doing, or in this case a game. Not that games are always art, but they can be a form of art, but still. I would say, actually, what is Katana doing, by the way? Your audience dictates a large part of your success. Now, whether it's an audience you want or not is a completely different story, but I think that's also a part, like, just to turn the chessboard around. Wow, I use that phrase, really. It's that you don't always get the audience you're looking or asking for. Nice knowledge check, by the way, 10. But you have to appreciate them, especially when they're the ones who are giving you their suggestions, criticism, opinions, so on and so forth. But they also determine the success, whether that is capital, money-wise was what I'm trying to say, or that is support just in general. And I mean, if you want to tie this to World of Horror, I mean, yes, there's a lot of... well, not just for World of Horror, but any game has its share of patient fans that just love the game, whether it's because they put time into it, and so there's a value cost. What's the phrase? There's a value to it, just inherently in terms of, I guess, the psychologically, hey, I don't want to admit, or I don't want to say that I'm wasting my time supporting something. Again, this is not just World of War, but anything in general. But if you have a dedicated audience, turns out your project will be a lot better, basically. I'll say project, because again, it's not always a work of art. Maybe you're doing something real life. Maybe you like making things in real life, whether it's physical or maybe it's something it's even digital. It doesn't have to be art or anything else. It can be anything, really. What was I trying to do? Nothing. I forgot to fill the bottle of water, by the way, but it doesn't really matter because we have a bunch of boss moves. I mean, I could fight painting as well for giggles. But since we have Labyrinth, and you know what? No, we're going to fight Labyrinth first, and then we're going to fight painting. Nails is going to be two-shot by the katana regardless. And not, we have an empty bottle to throw just to make sure we can two-shot the boss of Nails specifically. But yeah, as I'm finalizing a story, it's hard to become something hard to write something original, which is where this kind of my stream of consciousness went into. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. But basically, everything I've looked into, boy, is it. I'm not saying that they were bad games, stories, art, so on and so forth, but there's only so much before you go too far, and I think there is a pitfall in trying to be the most innovative or the most original, especially since I think I've said this before, but basically there is not enough supply for demand. And I know that sounds weird, even for things like, an example I'll use, and I think I've used before, is RPG Maker. People might say, oh, there's just more RPG Maker slop or whatnot, but I would argue that I think it's more a problem of not having, and this is going to sound a bit, what's the word? not contemptuous, but it's gonna sound a bit snobby, I guess, but it's just that we don't have enough, even just okay, I wouldn't say mediocre RPG Maker games. Oh my goodness, by the way, we don't get 2 of these. Well, was I a bit confident? Not really. If we had both of these, actually, we're pretty fine. Now, the question is, do we? No, the answer is no. So we're gonna drink a bottle of water, just so to make sure we can survive a bit longer. But then I think we just do Prep Strong twice. Would be nice to have hit them twice. I just didn't want to lose -6 all, but hey, turns out. I basically, quick math there, as you saw, I did perfectly the amount of HP I have. Now, keep in mind, for those who are not as in tune to World of Horror, that if I were not on my second mystery, if I were on my third mystery or later, that mystery actually, oh yeah, painting, that boss would have had more HP, which means I would have needed to either take -1 all damage, because I probably would have braced into a kick, or took a risk somewhere else, but hey. Also, would be nice to not die to stamina here, but we're gonna find out. Reason is our primary concern. If I'm fighting this boss, usually I don't plan to, but look at where I'm at right now. 25% doom on our third mystery, pretty much near the middle of our third mystery. Pretty good, if there's nothing else to learn this video about World of Horror. And to repeat that, if you're in the middle of your third mystery and your doom is at 28%, you're doing really, really well. Now, obviously, if your stamina and reason are at 1, it's a different story, but as I continue to lose stamina here, oh my goodness. We're still going to grab this light source, by the way. I forgot my second encounter. Doesn't matter. My doom is so high anyway. Or low, sorry. I have a lot of doom to work with. That's where my mind got confused. But anywho, so I have taken swerves, basically. I know I said I wasn't going to make any swerves, but I think I mentioned I wasn't going to take any big swerve. Again, this comes from my little... I think there is a point to kind of reading, not the room, but... not the atmosphere either, but predicting trends to some extent. Again, and I've always devil's advocate myself by saying, if you have a project you believe in, you don't need to kind of try and predict the market, I guess. In this case, video gaming market. By the way, are we going to be okay here? Kind of, but no. I would have to throw the empty bottle to guarantee this, because I don't think I can Desperate Strong guaranteed. No, I can't. But if I do this into an empty bottle throw, then we have 18 damage on demand. Minimum 17, but 18. And off we go. Yeah, and if I so choose, I can just rest a bunch, but I'm gonna find out. So, because I know I have the strength check, oh yeah, let's do this. Now, what I need to be careful of is that events can just slap me in the face here. You know what, just for giggles, I'm gonna just walk forward. I'm gonna walk forward and see. Ask questions, that's free experience. I thought it was 3, it's actually 5. Hey, there's going to show that what I know. I don't know about this one though, so we'll just take the Doom. We have Doom to spare. I wasn't sure that was Doom, I just hoped it was Doom. And we're just gonna run, that's more Doom. And off we go. Again, going back to my point in my tips video, and probably, no, just my tips video, is that... knowing your events, knowing World of Horror is a big knowledge check, because, and that's one of the, at least top 2 things to know playing World of Horror, because there's not a lot of, aside from obviously handcuff tech, there's not a lot of hand-eye coordination things, which means any game, you know, Into the Breach, to some extent even Against the Storm, games of that nature, especially games with perfect knowledge like Into the Breach. And I think I have another one. I'm going crazy. I don't know if I ever made a trying to play video of that game. I guess I have to check, but oh, actually we take a lot of damage here. Let's see. I could handcuff tech this boss. Okay, good. I had to hold my breath because I've missed that before, and it's partly this is why I don't play shooters. And to some extent, you might say, "Well, Jordan, didn't you play fighters when you were younger?" One, that was when I was younger, and two, well, that's not an excuse. But I think, funny enough, I think my level of skill with my hand-eye coordination, basically my physical body in real life, whether it's playing video games or otherwise, has remained relatively the same. Probably diminished by like 10% at most, but basically what you got is what you got. Now, I'm not saying that the people I fought against, whether it's in fighting games or any competitive games, were bad. Like, they were very good. I'm not trying to humble myself too much, because that is an insult. But, I mean, objectively, my skill level has remained relatively the same over the years, basically. Back then when I was competing, or tried to compete, that's more accurate to say, and now. So, Now, if some people want to say, well, Jordan, that sounds a bit like disingenuous to anyone you've played against. I mean, I all I can say is I am where I'm at. I know what I am and what I am not in terms of skill level. So, anywho. Do I just want to take this in the face? I can just take 2 stamina damage, but I want to take strength instead. You know what? Yeah. Especially if we get unrelenting. Then I'll feel a bit better about taking 3 all damage in the face. Again, basically, if we make it to the lighthouse, we're pretty good. And even on the last mystery here, this enemy, the Puppet Metron, is in perfect katana range, basically. Now, if my katana had 1 less base damage... Actually, it does have 1 less base damage. Never mind, I'm going crazy. Where are we getting our extra point of damage from? I don't know. Well, either way, actually I do need to get rid of 2 items, so we're gonna actually visit the History Club to pick up an item. If we get something else, that would be cool, but actually we can't even spend the stamina. As much as I could just rest here. Yeah, I would actually need to rest a lot. My next question is, do we have fetid fumes? No. So the thing about this rest here is if you rest once, you do lose... I think you break even, right? 3 doom, 2 fruit for 2 stamina, 2 reason, but the flip side there also, did I not take the skull? Oh no, I tossed it. Okay, I tossed it. And thankfully this black hair can be tossed as well. We were on timeline A, but you never know. With random timeline. I still think, okay, let me just put this out at least. I still think per mystery, when you put the random items, or random timeline setting to on, so if you set random timeline setting to on through the main menu, I think and thought that the mysteries per mystery randomize the timeline. And I'm only saying this, I keep on sticking by this because I swear I have literal footage in one of my videos. By the way, we're gonna run from this. Oh, we can't cut back. I swear I had actual footage in one of my videos of me running into timeline like B scissors and timeline A arms. I swear, and you know it's not. I know that for also missing a 90%, by the way. Please don't miss both of these. I would like to not. Okay, good. Yeah, I have footage of that, so I'll have to test that again just to be sure, because then I would have to make a focused video, and literally wouldn't be a long video, and literally just be like a minute or 2 of me going into scissors and into arms with random timeline, and seeing A to B, because I'm not sure anymore. I swear I had it though. Yeah, anywho. Dexterity, we pass all of those, so we shouldn't need to, actually, I shouldn't need to worry about my stamina as much, but you never know, right? I'm even gonna rest twice just to do that. But as we move on here, again, let me know. And I'm not saying just let me know. I mean, like, everyone can report whether or not you've seen this thing. And again, it's the most prevalent in if you have scissors and arms, which is what I'm going to test specifically. If I were to test, I don't remember. 25% guessed right. Yeah, I'm gonna try it myself at some point. I need to remember, on top of all the homework I want to do. But, as we take 3 Doom, but then, yeah. I was gonna say something. Is it Madari Satsugeka? I can't remember. That's the name of a certain LB. But anywho, yeah, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll try to test myself at some point because I have some work to do. But otherwise, yeah, not much else to say. That's a katana run, and also high stats with the character. But if you have anything else to say, or if you want to talk about something I talked about, let me know. You can always say something, and if I don't have anything to say, I'll just tilt my head and go, okay. Again, usually when I like and comment. Like or heart a comment on this platform, it's because it's just to say like I read it at least. But without further ado, not going to take up much more of your time then. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!